rise in economic growth, greenhouse gases, and environmental pressure, what is the next source of fuel we must turn to with our depleting fossil fuel reserves? The answer to this question is in sustainable and renewable energy such as biofuels. The issue that comes with biofuels are the yields of biomass per acre, competition with agriculture, and contribution to greenhouse gases and pollution. Microalgae are the perfect solution to this issue. Fred Brosselman, who wrote Green Diesel, Finding a Place for Algae Oil in the Chicago-Kent Law Review, accessed on Los Rios OneSearch on April 24, 2017, states, algae are relatively simple plant-like organisms that capture light energy through photosynthesis and use it to convert inorganic substances, water, carbon dioxide, nutrients, into organic matter and store the trapped energy as some form of carbohydrates. Although most algae grow by using a photosynthetic process to convert the energy from sunlight into living material, some algae are photoheterotrophic, able to grow using sunlight and organic compounds such as carbon as an energy source, which would be a great way to reduce the CO2 and excess carbon in the environment left by fossil fuels. Brosselman continues his argument by explaining what specific traits scientists look for in algae species. In choosing among the species of algae for a fuel source, scientists seek at least three qualities: high lipid content, fast growth rates, and simple structure amenable to genetic manipulation. These are the traits viable for a sustainable source for a biofuel, and why we should source biofuel from microalgae. One issue scientists come across is the production yield for a source. It must be able to grow quickly and abundantly within a smaller area as to not take up space for human development, agriculture, or infringe on environmental ecosystems. The genetic traits of algae are what set it apart. According to Aesop Pantes, Biofuel from Algae, accessed on April 24, 2017, he describes lipids from microalgae are chemically similar to vegetable oils that are often used to produce biodiesel. Many species of algae have high lipid content, amounting up to half their weight. Algae typically have high growth rates and commonly double their biomass within 24 hours. Both of these factors contribute to the ability of algae to produce marketable quantities of oil in a remarkably small land area and relative to other biofuel crops. In one comparative modeling analysis, scientists estimated that algae oil production can reach 26 tons per hectare per year, 55 times the oil production of soybeans, 20 times that of rapeseed, and 6 times that of oil palms. This yield in comparison would condense the area needed for cultivation and biofuels across the globe and stop the need for encroachment of natural landscapes. Charles Hall writes in Oil from Algae, accessed on April 24, 2017 on OneSearch, the arguments in favor of microalgae are their rapid growth rates. They can double mass in less than a day, projected high yields, and putative high oil triglyceride content. Additional factors cited in microalgae's favor are their ability to grow in seawater, brackish water, or wastewater, which allows them to avoid competition with water with food crops, and their ability to use carbon dioxide from power plant stack gases. Affirming Pandy's point on growth rates as well as giving examples of different ways we can utilize for plant cultivation on water instead of land, further showing the adaptability and versatility of this organism. Water is a precious resource we must save for agriculture and human consumption. The impact on food production must be slim to none for a source of biofuel. The main source for biofuel currently is edible oil such as soy, palm, and corn. Any mass cultivation of these plants would greatly impact food production. Seo Hua Teo argues against this position by stating how the use of food-based feedstock extensively for production of biodiesel is shrinking arable land availability and worldwide concern over the fuel versus food debate. The shortage of edible oil in many developing and undeveloped countries remains a question mark to further production of biodiesel from edible oils. Hence, it does not seem to be an ideal justification to divert edible oil to sustainable biofuel production. Bred from algae derived from biodiesel using nanocatalytic transesterification process on April 23, 2017. Paul Monfort photographer brings two key points to his argument on outmoded biodiesel feedstock, which are used for people and animals alike. This will decrease available food and increase cost. The 2 points he argues were found in his article, Algae Oil, a Sustainable Renewable Fuel of Future, published in the Biotechnology Research International. By using algae as a source of biodiesel, can make sure in a number of ways. First, algae are not used as a primary food source for humans, meaning that can be used distinctly for fuel and there will be less impact on the food industry. Second, many of the waste product sources produced during the processing of algae for biofuel can be used as an efficient animal feed. This is an efficient way to minimize waste and a much cheaper remedy to the traditional corn or grain-based feeds, which was accessed on April 24th, 2017 from OneSearch. Bringing up key points for algae being a separate plant not used for food, which will not affect the economics surrounding agriculture, and as well as giving an example of waste management by using production waste as animal feed, give another reason for algae's viability for biofuel option. As we make the transition to using biofuels because of the growing concerns surrounding climate change, claims made that all biofuels would reduce greenhouse gases, which started the counter-argument that farmers worldwide would respond by converting forest and grasslands to croplands, and would double greenhouse gas emissions over a 30-year period, according to Bosselman. This statement shows the importance of finding a healthy environmental solution with a small impact on ecosystems and the earth. Jonathan Trent has come up with a self-contained modular concept for the cultivation of microalgae to combat this issue. As he explains in his TED Talk speech, energy from floating algae ponds. He plans to place the structure near an area with wastewater and CO2, such as a wastewater plant or an area on the coastline where sewage runoff occurs. This gives the algae the proper nutrients to grow, the solar energy from the sun to aid in photosynthesis, and natural wave motion from the ocean to stir and mix the algae, with temperature controlled naturally by the surrounding water. The algae will provide oxygen, reduce CO2, improve the surrounding ecosystem, and provide not only biofuel but bioalgal products used for feed, cosmetics, and fertilizer. With this proposed system and all other reasons of product yield and food impact, microalgae is a viable, sustainable, and positive solution for the oil crisis, climate change, and biofuels.